Hello, this is Reiki Master Angelia with part 5 of Works of Heart's Reiki and Natural Healing Level 1 class or training program. It's more what correctly it is. And last time we were talking about the different herbs you could use to make healing oils for different ailments. Now today we're going to start with making a healing oil. Healing oils have been used in the Mediterranean area for thousands of years. Since the discovery of olive oil, it has been used as holy oil, healing oil, and in cooking. Our healing oil should be used as a supplemental treatment. Advise clients of that and tell them to check with their doctor if they have any serious health problems that a topical solution may aggravate. And I'm actually gonna do something here because this thing's bugging me. It won't leave me alone. Y'all know how it is. You get silly notifications. Do this now. Update now. No. Busy. Cautionary notes are listed in your notes as to what herbs, etc. should not be used with certain conditions. And if you remember when we were talking about that, I say not if you have high blood pressure, not if you're pregnant, So that's what I mean when I say that. Make sure you label these for your clients. That's important. If you're going to be giving your clients these things, I'm not going to say people are ignorant, but if they're trying this, and they don't know the specifics, they don't know. So any information I give you like that, don't use if you're pregnant, don't use if you have high blood pressure or low blood pressure, or if you have epilepsy. Label those for your clients so they'll know. So if something were to happen, they can't come back and say, you should have told me that. You didn't tell me that. I'm going to sue you. Actually, I had a woman, pull that stuff on me one time. I was like, no, look right here. So watch your back on that. Put the label on there. We want our products to heal. Definitely. That's why we're doing this. Not harm. And I actually use sticky paper you can buy, at any office store to make stickers with, and make my own labels. And you can either type it out if you can, get enough, if you have a label maker style program, or you can just write it out nicely, and stick that label on your product, and then that way you've got that covered. You put your ingredients, you put the size, what it's called, and any special cautionaries on the label, and that way your clients know what they're getting. Olive oil is the perfect healing oil base. Olive oil has 2 layers to it. The first, more easily absorbed layer, and the greasy, fatty layer that sits on top of your skin and is absorbed more slowly. This layer is why massage therapists don't use it, because it will stain most fabrics it touches. So advise your clients who will be using it on to wear something that they don't care if it gets stained. Because when I did healing sessions, I would have them come in and I would use healing oil on these areas that needed it and send Reiki through that, and that adds an extra boost, to the energy if you got the healing oil to go in there and you're sending energy through that area. So if you're going to be doing healing sessions using healing oil, you need to tell your clients wear something that they don't mind if it gets stained, because olive oil does stain. This fatty layer acts like a natural time-release capsule, which keeps on delivering the infused herbs, etc., into the area where it has been applied. It's like I said, that top greasy layer, the 2 layers to it. One goes in, pretty quick to moisturize. The other one will sit there and go in more slowly. So it's nature's time-release, capsule. It is an effective tool in Reiki, because just like oil in a skillet, when you are sending healing energy through the oil, it adds heat, which helps to infuse the herb oil mixture even more. and release it even more thoroughly into the body. Use the oils on the affected area and on the reflexology points on the hands and feet for optimum treatment. Things you will need: extra virgin olive oil, hand pressed is the optimum, herbs, spices, fruit juice, fresh from the fruit according to the healing list, a measuring cup with ounces, a bottle to put the healing oil in, and I'll sell them in 2-ounce bottles for the simple reason that, if you're traveling on a plane or whatever, that was what, at the time, I think they've upped it to 2.5 or something now, ridiculous. Yeah, okay. That people use. So I had these little glass ones that I could order, and then they weren't available anymore. With the dropper, I mean, that was the best thing. If you could find that in your area, great. So I had to move to a little glass and then sometimes plastic. I hate using plastic. I mean, we're talking about natural healing and I have to use a plastic bottle. That sucks. A funnel that fits into the healing oil bottle, because you're going to have to strain and, do this. So the funnel has to fit in the healing oil bottle. So you need a small funnel. Measuring spoons. A small handheld strainer. You've probably seen them in your grocery store. The strainer part is just like this big, because that's going to need to sit down in the top of that funnel. So it has to be small. And paper towels. You're going to need your paper towels. The first step in making a healing oil is to decide what size bottle you're going to use. And like I said, I used the 2-ounce size. The simple reason that it was portable for my clients and they could take it wherever they went. For the ease of purchase, and so your clients can carry them when they travel. Because these healing oils are not going to be cheap. You're going to want to charge your clients, so that you can get your money back. Olive oil is not cheap, especially if you get the good olive oil. It's not cheap. So by selling the 2-ounce size, that's a little more affordable than if you had an 8-ounce bottle of this healing oil and you're going to sell this to your client, because you're more likely to be able to sell a $5 to $10 bottle of healing oil versus a $60 bottle of healing oil. They're going to be like, unless, you just live somewhere where you have a lot of rich clients and they're just happy to throw this money at you. Bless you if you do. Because, yeah. The first step in making a healing oil is to decide what size the bottle is. And, okay, measure your 2 ounces or whatever size you're going to make of oil in a measuring cup. Step 2, pick your herbs and naturals according to the ailments you are wanting to treat. So say if the treatment for whatever you're looking at is basil, okay, you got to get your basil ready. As a general rule, use 1 teaspoon of your herb or spice, whatever you're using, per 2 ounces of oil. Note, if you're using a citrus juice, it will displace the oil and take up room. So you may have to experiment with your particular bottle to see how its shape takes the extra fluid and how to make that work out and still fit the bottle. Okay, now, having said that, this is what the natural healers recommend to start out with, is your, 1 teaspoon per 2 ounces. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, when they're working, and they work with more natural herbs, so maybe that's the difference, the fresher herbs, but they recommend starting out with a 1/4 teaspoon. So there is some discrepancy there, and then upping it as the patient can tolerate it. But they're making, pills and, things, herbal medicines to put in the tea. So maybe that's the difference, is that you're taking this internally, whereas a healing oil, you're not taking this internally. So maybe that's the difference there, because I've studied both. So, I know there is a difference there. Step 3, pour your oil into a small pot. or a microwave safe cup or bowl. Add the herb or spice, and you can do more than one. In traditional Chinese medicine, you start out with one, and if that's doing okay, but they still have a complaint, you can actually add more of that herb, or there usually are, like I said, a list of herbs, and you can add more of those herbs. Like if you have basil and bay on your list, and then cinnamon, as the client tolerates it, because everybody's different. Some people are easy to ease symptoms, some people are a little harder. And I personally, in my Ayurvedic tea that I take every morning, I presently have 22 ingredients in that. And they are safe ingredients that I can take every day. It's nothing too harsh, like some Chinese medicine ingredients are pretty harsh, and they say, don't take it, every day. Take it, until your symptoms go away. But since I have chronic conditions, my symptoms are not gonna go away. So, I have a pretty big laundry list of herbs and spices that go into my Ayurvedic tea every day. Okay, if you do it on the stove top, of course, bring it to a boil. It'll mostly sizzle because it's oil, Then quickly remove it. Do not allow the mixture to brown or evaporate. That's important, because then it's cooked. Then you've cooked it. You didn't infuse it. You cooked it, Otherwise, you'll have to start over, because you can't give your clients a nasty goo. You're giving them a healing oil, not a chunky, gooey mess. In the microwave, cook the mixture for 1 minute, or until the mixture pops, if less than 1 minute. Depends on your microwave. Depending on what your strength is. Mine's 1,000 watts. But about a minute for the 2 ounces of oil with the herbs in it, and you just put them in. You put your oil in there in your measuring cup, and you put your herbs in that, and you're going to cook that together. That infuses the oil with the herbs' properties, just like when you're cooking food. If you want the flavor of garlic, in your oil or your butter, you put that in, you cook it, and then that's what you got. You got garlic butter. So it's the same thing. You're putting the herbs and spices into your oil, infusing the oil with these properties of these herbs and spices. Remember, you don't want to lose any of the precious oil. So if you overcook it, you're losing oil, you're making goo, so you don't want to do that. You need to kind of keep your eye on this. This is not something you can start and walk away from. You got to stay right there and keep your eye on it. Step 4. Leave the herb mixture in the oil and let it cool for 10 minutes, just like you'd let a cake or something cool, for 10 minutes. And that's to let the heat dissipate, let all that good stuff from the herbs keep coming out into that oil. This further infuses the oil with the herb mixture. You can tell I've been doing this for a while, huh? Step 5. Get your bottle ready. Be sure to put a paper towel or towel that you don't care if it gets stained under it, because spills happen. Step 6. Put your funnel into the bottle. So you get your paper towel down, you get your bottle ready, you put your funnel in it. Step 7. Use your small hand strainer, which remember I said you had to have a hand strainer that fits in the top of your funnel. So this could be sitting there with that in it, and your strainer on top of that. Just hold it lightly and gently so you don't knock everything over and make a mess. Pour your oil and herb mixture into the strainer. Step 8. Let the oil run through the strainer. Hold the pot or cup over the strainer for 2 minutes. That's the hardest part of this process. As you're going to hold it there, because they're saying any good tea is brewed for 2 minutes at least. Any oil, you want all of that good stuff from the herbs and spices to drip through with that oil. The dredge is going to be stuck in the strainer, of course, so you don't have solids in your healing oil. You don't want to be rubbing people with stuff that's going to splinter in them or, anything. Smear mess all over them, so they like, ugh. This allows every last drop of oil that you're going to get out of it. Step 9. Gently press with clean fingertips on the herb mixture in the strainer to squeeze out any oil clinging in the nooks and crannies of the herbs. So you're just going to do this with your fingertips, gently. I want to put your finger through your strainer. You just want to gently squeeze out the last little bit of oil that you can get out of it. Do this for about 2 minutes as well. Step 10. Set aside the contents of the strainer and remove the funnel gently from the bottle. Remember, you don't want to knock everything over because you just worked on this, and this is precious oil right here. You don't want to waste it because that's going to cost you, your herbs and oil. They don't give those things away. Holding the bottle gently and gently tapping the funnel to get every drop out, because you want every drop. You want your clients to get their money's worth for their 2 ounces. And I usually measure mine, and usually the oil does get soaked up in the herbs, and usually I come up with 1.7 to 1.9, ounces. So, you're going to get some loss when you do that with the oil. But if you overfill, then you're not going to fit in your bottle. So it's better to have a little loss, and then you can write 1.7 or 1.9 ounces. Actually, that wouldn't be right. I'm thinking pounds in my head. You can only go to 8 ounces. But anyway, for the measurement, you know what I'm saying. Step 11. Let the healing oil sit and breathe for 10 or more minutes before capping. So I do that. Set my timer for 10 minutes. Then I can walk away while it's sitting there, getting the last little bit of heat out. Plus, you don't want to put a rubber, stopper. If you're using plastic, you definitely don't want that to be hot, because then it builds up pressure, and then you get condensation if it's too hot. You don't want to water down your healing oil. You want it to be as pure as possible. So let that air out and cool off for 10 minutes. The herb mixture that you just made for this healing oil can be put into a tea bag and used as an oily tea for the same ailment that the oil is for. Unless one of the herbs is a no-eat herb, and I don't even really use those. I don't mess with those. You can give this to your client as well if you're going to see them soon. I do not recommend storing the herb tea for more than 2 days. The simple fact, it is an oily tea, and sometimes they can start growing, so you definitely don't want to do that. But you can take a tea bag, you can open the tea bag, you can put this herb mixture into the tea bag and reseal it, and say, oh, I made this with your healing oil. This is oily tea, if it's something that, they want to do, and use this, along with your healing oil. Yeah, you thought I've been doing this a while. I have seen it start to grow within that time. I have made some, for someone, and then for some reason they couldn't get it. And then I looked at it and was like, no, I'm not giving this to anybody. Especially if you use a citrus. So if you won't see your client that day or the next, use the tea bag yourself. Or just put that oily mess in your mulch pile. Wash all of your healing oil instruments thoroughly and store in a clean, dry place. Healing oils have the same shelf life as the olive oil, usually 6 months to a year, as long as you keep it capped and germ-free. I had someone I made some for one time. They put it to their tongue. They wanted to taste it, because I said, yes, you could eat it. They wanted to taste it, so they touched it to their tongue. Well, a couple of days later, they have this moldy stuff growing on their dropper. Well, guess why? You touched it to your tongue, so now your germs are on it. Of course it's going to grow. That's the only one I've ever had grow. I've been using these things for, 15 years, and that's the only one I've ever had grow. So don't touch your tongue to the dropper or the top, whatever you're doing. Keep it as germ-free as possible. Yep. Citrus-infused oils will start to congeal and grow fungus, just like the fresh fruit itself will. So again, anything with orange or lemon or lime has a chance to start, growing because, it came from a natural fruit, and that can happen. And, that's life. Not a lot you can do about that. If your client, that happens to theirs and you're fairly sure they didn't, touch it all up or lick it all up, you can make them another one, and you can make them in smaller sizes. Make them a 1 ounce instead of a 2 ounce if you're definitely using citrus and it starts growing on them like that. The less germs get into the oil, the longer this will take. Throw out any oil that has sprouted a fungi hitchhiker. You might want to make sure you tell your clients that. If it's growing, you don't use it. Most reactions to a healing oil are clogged pores or an allergic reaction to an herb used. To combat this, use plain yogurt on the affected area. If the condition does not clear up within 2 days, get allergy or pore unclogging help from your doctor. Like I said, most of the time, people overuse it. I recommend only using healing oil once a week, every 7 days, on the affected area. Some people, I don't do it every day. Okay, and then they come to me, and the arm, all the pores are clogged, and it looks scaly and weird. It's like, did you overuse the healing oil? Did you use it more than once a week? Well, yeah, I did. I wanted to get it done. Okay, no. So then you get your plain yogurt, to help clean out the pores and unclog the pores, and you don't use the healing oil for another week. People always try and take shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. Pricing is up to you. The more expensive oil you use, the more you will want to recoup that cost, so that you continue to keep up your stock of oil and herbs, spices, and fresh citrus. Excuse me, my allergy's bugging me today. I've got an itchy nosy. Once you start using a healing oil, you will be able to tell the difference between a high quality oil and the cheap stuff. In oils and herbs, you get what you pay for. Oils used for hair care, and you can have a 10% wheat germ oil additive to that. You use 1 drop of oil per two teaspoons of your carrier product. Now, you can go to places like Hobby Lobby or online. You can order shampoo or conditioner bases, and then add your own ingredients to those. And the recommended ones for hair care are lemon, petitgrain, henna, olive oil, and sesame oil. I use olive oil. Face masks. You can make a face mask with chickpea flour, salt and honey, olive oil, and avocado, and that's great for dry skin. And you can use cucumber eye masks, like you see people in the spa. Those actually are good. They actually work. Compresses. To make a compress, put 10 drops on a wet rag. You can use this also as a weekly hair treatment. 5 drops of oil to 1 tablespoon of the carrier oil, or on a towel, like a hand towel size, and wrap around your hair, to do your own little oil treatment once a week. Massage into the hair, excuse me, and wrap a warm wet towel around your hair for 5 minutes. Okay, and for our compresses, you can use chamomile, clary sage, eucalyptus, ginger, juniper berry, lavender, marjoram, neroli, peppermint, rosemary, sandalwood, and tea tree. And you would want to go back to your herbal lists. Like I say, if you're taking this, you can stop and pause, make notes, keep it saved, whatever you want to do, and decide which herbs you're using for your compress. Because a compress is generally for an outer, area. So then you would leave your cold compress on for 3 hours. Yeah. So like sitting in your armchair or whatever with your feet up or whatever area you're putting this compress on, let it sit there for 3 hours. Okay, lotions. And I used to do a powder, but there's so much controversy about powder now. I used to use, the cornstarch, but now they're saying even that's not great for you. So I just don't even do powders anymore because there's too much controversy, and I don't want someone to come back on me and say, oh no, you gave me this powder and you caused me to have cancer. Well, I don't know because I use cornstarch, but I just stay away from them now. Powders become a no-no. So for lotions, you want 1 drop of oil per 2 teaspoons of the carrier product. And like I said, Hobby Lobby or some other places, you can actually buy a lotion base. You can use rosehip oil, avocado oils, and the best is grapeseed oil for lotions. You can use that also in face cream. Anything you can use on your body, you can use on your face. And like I said, don't even do powder anymore. You can use cedar wood, citronella, clary sage, clove, I use that in my lotions, cypress, eucalyptus, I use that in my lotions, fennel, geranium, ginger, I use that in my lotions, increases blood circulation. Juniper berry, lavender, I use that in mine, lemon, use that in mine also, mandarin, I use that in mine also, orange, patchouli if you want, peppermint, I use that in my lotion, that's great on your feet, petite grain, pine, rose, I use that in my lotions, rose otto, rosemary, sandalwood, I use that one, tea tree, I use that one, ylang ylang, evening primrose, and you can also put a little olive oil in there because that's great for your skin. Okay, poultices, you wrap in a cheesecloth, for your poultice. You can use evening primrose. That's the one that they recommend here, and I'm sure other people, other cultures even, have different things they put in a poultice, and if you know what you're doing with that, great, go for it. Cough syrup. To make that, you boil half a pint of water and add 1 sliced lemon and 1 tablespoon of honey, then your herbs, and then strain that into a bottle. And for cough syrup, you can use hyssop, mint, wild onion, sage, ginger, and thyme. And actually, there's a trick to this to make cough drops. What you can do is you can take this, once you've made it, and put it into ice cube trays. And then keep that in your freezer, keep it covered with something. And then you have a cough drop. Next time you're coughing, you can pop that, in there. Hope some of y'all chew ice. I don't chew ice anymore. I used to when I was a kid, but I got holy teeth now, so I don't chew ice. But, even if you just want to put it in a glass of water, that's a good way to keep that. Because, most people aren't going to sit there and drink half a pint of stuff. But you might, who knows. Tinctures and tonics. For a tincture, you want to soak 2 teaspoons of a herb and 4 teaspoons of alcohol. Used by dropper into the underside of your tongue. A lot of people did tinctures. A lot of people don't do tinctures anymore. You might not know what that is, but that's how that's given. For a tonic, you want to soak 2 teaspoons of the herb per 4 teaspoons of alcohol, then strain it and drink. Like some people like to boil that. Some people like to just let it sit there for 10 minutes. That one's kind of up to you if you want it warm, if you want it cold, if you want to put it in the fridge and leave it that way and then strain it. When you're going to drink it, it's kind of up to you. But if you leave it too long, of course, there's the chance that things might start growing. I don't like to leave anything like that. 2 days is my max. 2 days is my max. For tinctures and tonics, you can use lemongrass, lime, calamus, wild onion, and lobelia. I actually have some of that growing out front. Okay, Well, that's all for today. I hope you found this educational, informational, or just plain entertaining. And if you did, I'm going to leave the link in the description to help me to keep doing this. So please like and share and donate if you feel moved to. Until next time.